G'day everyone and welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'm Nat and this is my Knackers Yard. A bit of space because I'm moving stuff around more than anything else. Had a no-show on the Chinese 125 yesterday. He's rebooked for Tuesday and there's another one potentially. So yeah, it's going to go and I just need the space. On the Hartford, I had a go at the rusty foot pegs last night. And they're looking a lot better now. I'm going to have a quick mini rant on Chinese bikes because they get a lot of bad press and I don't think they deserve them. Fundamentally, they're mass-produced bikes for a mass market. But there's things they do well. It sounds a little bit finicky to say they do foot pegs really well. This was great. It just popped off. So I took the bolt off there and it all just strips into fundamental parts. There's basically a pin that goes through the whole piece. Took it apart, painted it, chucked it back together. Looks fab. Now when you compare that to other versions of the same on a Japanese bike, it's easier, frankly, than it is on a lot of the Japanese bikes. So what, I'm 46 years old, I'm of an era. I grew up with phrases that are not acceptable anymore, many of them, one of which being Jap crap, which was used to describe Japanese cars when they first came out, that are now arguably surpassing a lot of European ones and certainly a lot better than a lot of American cars. Chinese bikes are coming, ladies and gentlemen, get used to it, and they are getting better. They're still mass produced, they're still not designed to last, but one of the most expensive things you'll have in your house is probably your refrigerator, and guess what, that's designed to break after a certain amount of years, so to make you buy another one. It's the bike version of it. Yeah, look after them, well maintain them, change the oils regularly, and you'll get more than enough use out of a Chinese bike. Are you ever going to get it MOT and tax free because it's 40 years old? Probably not, but that's not what they're designed for. Right, mini rant over. Back on to Rat Boy. Had a few people saying about the black hugger at the back, saying, oh, it needs to go yellow to knit it in, etc. I was concerned about too much yellow on this bike, but I did agree it looked a little bit strange as straight black. So what I've done is, I have done essentially a photo negative of the front. Now you might think that's a little bit of a design thing. That's really clever. What made you think of that? Well, two things really. One, I didn't want yellow. Doing it entirely yellow, I still think would have been too much for it. It's just, yeah, I just think it's too much. So I thought it needed some yellow on it. How was I going to do it? The second part of it is I've run out of yellow. Now you can judge which one of those was the forefront of my mind while I was going through this. Yeah, I would have had enough, but because I cocked up the front mud guard, I had to use my reserve can. I tend to try and keep a reserve can of anything I'm doing for bits that go wrong, so I don't have to wait. Or more importantly, I know that I've got more of the same colour, and that is the very last of it. No, I've not rubbed it down, I've not done anything with it. It's a little bit rough, but it'll wear itself down over time, I think, more than anything else. But I do like that. I do think it needed something just to knit it in a little bit more, and I do quite like that. Yeah. Now, it has struck me the one thing I have never done with this bike is clean it. Despite the fact it's all shiny, that's all the new stuff, the old stuff isn't. So, while it's quite early, and I don't want to be making noise, I'm going to give it a good douche. Right, let's get on with that. Right, so whilst there's a couple of bits of black paint just curing off on the Fazer, I thought I've been promising to do this for a while and I've not quite got round to it. So if you can hear me over my very, very loud Spanish neighbours, it's this stuff. So it's cam brush. It's not flat black. It's the clear paint that I put on there to use as a lacquer. Now what I wanted to do, now that's a test plate, I think. What's that from? That's from one of the ER5s that I did. It's just a bit of a checker plate, and in fact On the back is the truck bed stuff, which is really good high wearing stuff. So that's just a few coats. I mean, it's not the best paint in the world, it was a test sheet, but that's a few coats of the clear cam brush. Now it claims petrol, did it say proof? No, petrol resistance it proves. Slight difference between the two. So what I've got here is a little pot of petrol and a little sponge, and I thought we'd do a few tests, because if this is good stuff, there's a potential in using it on tanks. Right, so that is more fuel than you will get on your bike at a petrol station, I would hope, unless you have Parkinson's or something similar. Right, so let's just give that a wipe. So then I call that a bit of a oh shit test. So that's a oh shit, it's just poured out the top of my tank. Now that has done absolutely nada. Absolutely nothing. Right, happy with that. Now, let's just test the petrol proofness, just for shits and giggles. I wasn't going to do this, but I wanted to find a painted bit of metal that I could test on. Ooh. So that's the flatbed. Now this stuff should also be pretty good, and it is not eating away at it at all, which is cool. I haven't got anything that's just painted with normal paint, regrettably, so I could show you the petrol stripping powers of it, but all you need to do is look back at the Fazer and look at it before it was petrol proofed. And it was just stripping the black off it straight away down to the blue. So what I'm going to do this time is do a bit more of a forgetful test, where I've forgotten that I've covered it in petrol and I've left it for a while, and I'm going to leave that for a good few minutes whilst we have a look at the Fazer. Right, so the Fazer, post a bit of a clean up, is looking I think pretty amazing. I'm really happy with the yellow stripe. I think it just melds it in a little bit more without going too yellow, which was my big concern. I do wish the 21 yellow was a little bit darker, but that's, you know, utter finicky. Engine bay's had a bit of a clean out, a few odd dabs of paint just to cover up where there's flecks. Yeah, what else have I done? Yeah, the horn has had that flatbed on it as well, because that was just looking a bit shaky. There's my mate with the two strokes. He's got a Rossi bike, actually one of Rossi's bikes. They're just incredible, and that two-stroke smell is wonderful. Dead gel of his collection. Oh, I wish you could smell that. I need to get a two-stroke. I need to play with a two-stroke. Mental note. Yeah, well and truly a lot better now. The bike, little bits of black on it here and there. Obviously I sorted out the fuel reservoir top yesterday. It's all now happy. There's a bit of a post-mortem because this is pretty much done. It's good to sell now, and frankly, if Dave wasn't being slightly, and it was not temperamental, he just doesn't feel right, doesn't feel himself, and if he was running and riding perfectly, then this would be gone straight off. But it gives me an excuse to keep it for a bit longer. A bit of a post-mortem. What have I done? What have I done wrong? What might help you guys if you do something similar? One, I went too far back too quick with the back seat and with the cutting. I got a bit over ambitious with my angle grinder and made life difficult for me. I found a way out of it and it works, but and it looks brilliant, but that caused me a fair amount of thinking. I did look at that flat back to start with, which I still liked, but the rest of it just got too good and it was getting let down by its arse. So there was a bit of a issue in sorting that, but it looks a lot better now. I love the clip-ons on this. It is quite a big bike, and that now is quite a distance. So let me just get you set up and I'll park myself on it. Now, bearing in mind, hardly going to look like the best rider in the world because I am in shorts and flip-flops because it's Redders. I don't like sitting on it while it's on a stand either, but that's comfy for me. But I am 6'3" with long limbs. That's a nice position for me. I didn't quite realise how much further this had gone forwards until, frankly, my missus sat on it at 5'2" and a bit and was basically laying across the tank. It's quite a nice position, actually, quite a nice cafe sit position. But you know, so what? I think I might have restricted some of the buyers or potential buyers by having it quite so long, because some people just won't fit on it comfortably, whereas it's perfectly comfortable for me. Yeah, so love the clip-ons, love the yoke. It looks, you know, yeah, so much better sorting it out. The wiring was a bitch, and frankly I nearly gave up several times, but patience bore me out on that. The front mudguard I nearly binned because I was having such problems with it. I now think it makes the bike. It just introduces the colour scheme at an early stage, so I'm really glad I persevered. So, you know, one key lesson on it is perseverance. Front end wise, I'm still not convinced on my side light, but it works, and light's a good thing. I'm going to try and blind every driver, it's a good thing. I like the dual headlights. I like the Speedo. However, if I was selling that, I wouldn't have a problem. It looks cool. I might have a look at replacing the clocks and go for a single, more CAF-esque single clock. If I'm going to do that, I might look at going for a single headlight. Don't know. I'm undecided at the moment. I will have to see how it goes. Love the clocks, love the yellow on it. The neutral light being on permanently really annoys me. I can't change the clock. I've tried every combination of one button known to man, and I can't change that clock. It's driving me balmy. I think what I might do is come out, disconnect the battery at midnight, and then reconnect it and see how it gets on, and just to zero it that way. Yeah, it's just a fab bike, and that little temporary exhaust is just a monster. Right, cool. Enough on Rat Boy for the moment. I know he should call Sting or something else, but he's always going to be Rat Boy to me. Let's have a look at that petrol. That's been on there for 5 minutes now. Right, so back down with the test sheet. Now, if you're at a point where you've left petrol on your paint for 5 minutes, quite frankly, you pretty much deserve what you get. In my humble opinion, that sounds a little bit rough, but you know, I know there's situations where these things happen, where you've overfilled your tank and it's got a very low side stand like that. Fazer slops to the side, overcomes the seal on your tank, but you know, right, that's brilliant. That is not a problem with that at all. Yeah, Mark 1 cleaner. Let's spit on a bit of tissue paper. He's starting to just take the tops. Was that there earlier? I don't recall. I'm going to have to look back at my work. But so what? I don't think it's a cheap alternative to 2K. It's close. It is deathly close. And frankly, if I had some of it, it would be on the Hartford at the moment on the tank, because I think that's just bobbles, and there are no bobbles on my tank. Yeah, happy with that. So not conclusive proof that it's bloody good, but not that you can instantly go out and buy it instead of 2K clear if you're doing one of them. Now, if you're doing one of them, i.e. a cheap little project, then it's potentially an option. it is potentially an option. Right, now that is me for the day, because it's a beautiful day. I want to go out and chase kids and dogs around parks. My own kids and dogs, otherwise that gets you on lists, that sort of behaviour. Brill. So we're pretty much there. Mrs. is yammering away to her family on the phone. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep an eye out and see if I can find some clocks that would work on it. It's a bit of a strange one because it's an all-electric feed. So the speedo, there's no like speedo cable or throttle cable or anything else. It is all fed electronically, which could be a good thing, because that leads me towards thoughts like a little small Chinese one as much as anything else. But we'll see. I'm in no rush because I freaking love this bike. I've just tried to insure it, and my insurance company doesn't work Sundays, which is slightly frustrating. But hey, so that means during the week I'll switch the insurance over from the diversion onto this. I've ordered the parts for the diversion, i.e. the new jets, and it is pretty much ready to go. Now the choke cable on my diversion is pretty much frozen. I've got a replacement down there. I just can't get to it because I've got a locked bolt in the back of the grip. So, you know, there's a few bits that Dave needs doing to him, but he's such a fab bike, I bear no ill to the fact that I'm going to have to spend a bit of time on it. 2K on the way, a couple of other bits on the way. Kick start and kick stand, although I kept getting those two mixed up yesterday, are en route, as is a mudguard that I managed to get for, I think, for £7. It's only a plastic one, doesn't need it, but why the hell not while we're going. A few other bits and pieces that need a little bit of light de-rusting, but yeah, it's all looking good. Right, that's me for the day. I'm going to go out and get some sun, try and wear the kids down a little bit. Cool. Thanks very much all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you're enjoying it. Any suggestions on where to take the site or what to do, please feel free. I don't do this for the site. I do this because I'm filming my hobby, and it's nice that people want to join in and yeah, join in and have some fun as well. Look at that. That's candy coat, and you can see my reflection. That's great stuff, that cam brush stuff. Right, fantastic. Thanks very much all. I shall catch you later. Cheers.